Paradigm shift logic is really the key to understanding the world, and it's the key to learning, and it's the key to development. And everything constantly changes, and so there's always this erosion through paradigm shifting. And then also everything you learn is a paradigm shift in what you already know. And so when you go to learn something new, you have to learn the key drivers, the fundamental things that make it functional. And that's what makes it so difficult. You can't just take what you just learned and then apply it. That would be awesome. I always wanted my musical ability to be able to transcend and to be able to, help me plateau into other things. But music is music, and it runs on its own model. So it's like a paradigm model that you have to understand what makes that model function to master it. Then you move on to the next one. And maybe there's an all model that connects all of them together. I don't know about that yet, but one would assume this. And so, like in school, when you're young, you learn the basic stuff. And then as you get older, you start to learn about, the opposite sex, and you learn some of that. And then you learn about the vocational stuff. And then if you go higher, you learn about the business stuff and how that really works. You learn what really makes things function beyond either the representation or the facade. You learn what really fundamentally is critical to making something operational versus what it presents. Because there's a backwards logic to all things. There's a counterintuitive logic where you go to approach things and everything is made to seem as it doesn't work. And so you have to figure that out, and you have to figure out why the old math doesn't apply to the new scenario, and then hopefully figure out what you can do to make the things functional. So I just happen to think about how paradigm shifting is really critical. So if you just keep going along that path, you keep seeing all these things that you realize, oh, it all changed. It's like when people were learning desktop publishing, they had learned all this cool new stuff, but then it went out the window because everything shifted and everything changed. And so then people started to get more invested in AI, at least in the tech sectors. And so then it became a shift towards that. It was not a direct impact. It was more of a erosion. Everything seems to happen with this paradigm shifting thing through the erosion quality, where you see some subtle things. You say, what is that? Is it going to change everything? And then, of course, slowly it does, but it doesn't do it quite how it makes it like it's going to. And so you have to figure out what exactly it's going to change. For instance, in the news, they will never, ever, ever, ever tell you just exactly what's going to happen or what the news is or whatever. Instead, they put something over here while they're doing something over here, and you will never know about what's occurring over here. And it's more important to know that. So you're missing the key driver of what's making that function. But they always have a sidetrack to throw people off what's actually occurring. And it's the same way with history. They have this linear history, but it's all filled with all these potholes, and so none of it makes sense. So going through all these things, it's like everything you have to learn, from language to math to vocational to scientific to personal relationships to the opposite sex. Everything is a paradigm shift and like a phase shift and a totally new sense of the parameters of the model of the world you reside in. So that's why it's so difficult to really master these things and make concrete elements that you can step on, like a stepping stair, to continue a progress for an overarching development of all of those things, to make all of them stronger.